Nintendo's follow-up system to the original Switch, the Switch Lite, is a really impressive system, especially for the cost. But in 2020, the question is it worth it? Hey, what's up guys, Snake here, back in another video, and today I'm talking about the Nintendo Switch Lite. I know I'm a bit behind, but honestly, with the months I've had with the Switch Lite, it allowed me to make an actual impression as to if we should have it in 2020. I picked the system up back in November, and I was able to truly figure out who this system is actually for. I've had 3 months, or a little under 3 months, with this system, and I have finally been able to sort of pinpoint exactly who this system is for. If you don't know what the Switch Lite is already, then, well, you're a bit behind, but I'll explain it anyways. Basically, it's Nintendo's way to create a cheap, portable version of the original Switch. When I say cheap, I don't mean bad, I literally just mean it is a lower cost system because it is a portable only, one body design. Since this is portable only, there's no way to actually dock this to a TV, and it's really designed for the handheld experience for those who are more out and about, don't use their TV that often, or just want to save some money. My overall review of the system is that it's honestly amazing. I honestly thought the smaller size was going to be an issue, but it wasn't. I was so used to my regular Switch that I thought this would be a bit off-putting, but it actually feels really nice in the hands because it's that sort of small size that isn't too small, you know? A lot of people don't like the smaller size because it's a smaller screen, or maybe the buttons are just too small or whatever it is, but overall, honestly, the size of it is not that bad, especially since along with the smaller size, you also get a much lighter device. For long play sessions, it being lighter actually makes it so that you don't really get tired of holding it that often, and its smaller size makes it a lot easier to carry around, and I'm even able to shove it in my jacket pocket, something that my regular Switch has struggles doing. They're both made to be brought portably, but this is really like designed for portability, and like I just shove it in my pocket, no problem. That one, it's a little bit too big. Another nice touch is because of the newer chipset than the older Switch, the battery life is actually really good, getting me about 5 to 6 hours on a single charge. For a system like this, it's important to get a good battery life, and Nintendo absolutely nailed it. While I have been loving this system for the last 3 months I've been using it, and I do love how it's designed and what Nintendo's created, it does have its downsides. One thing between the Switch and Switch Lite that's missing is obviously the lack of detachable Joy-Con. Now on one hand, this is actually a very nice thing because it creates this sort of unibody design and actually gives you a full-size D-pad on the system, which is very important for a lot of people. While it does have those, it just sucks that overall it feels like a cheaper experience than the actual Joy-Con. There's something about these buttons that just feel way mushier than regular Joy-Cons. Regular Joy-Cons have this really nice clickiness to them, and these just don't. And well, it's not a bad thing because honestly, I don't really mind the mushier keys. It just doesn't make sense to me why they're mushier keys, since clearly this is the exact same layout and system as regular Joy-Con. They changed the buttons, but the actual joystick mechanism is the same, which worries me because my Switch hasn't had any problem in the last 3 months, but we've seen Joy-Cons drift. Joy-Cons have a very big issue with their sort of little mechanism that ends up causing it to drift, and with a Joy-Con, you can kind of just pop it off and send it away and get it replaced, but with a whole Switch, what do? Another big issue that actually affected me and will affect you if you're someone who owns a regular Switch already is how it works between the two systems. Now the way Nintendo created this was weird, but basically if you have a Switch and a Switch Lite and you're gonna keep your Switch at home and Switch Lite on the go, you wanna make your Switch Lite your primary system. The reason is that any digital games that you buy or play have to be checked if they could be played. To check if you're allowed to play that title, Nintendo needs an internet connection to sort of just double check your account. The thing is, when you have your Nintendo Switch on the go, you don't have an internet connection, and that's where the issue lies. However, on a primary Switch, you don't have to check. They just know that, okay, that digital game is okay, you can play it. When it comes to save data, you either have to transfer it manually from one Switch to another, or if you have Nintendo Online and the game supports it, you can use cloud save, so upload your save data from one Switch and download it on another. So that's not really an issue, it's really just the primary and secondary issue. A lot of you might be thinking, that's the only downside, not a worry, I'm just gonna do it that way, boom, problem solved. But there's one more thing that actually made this a deal breaker, and unfortunately, it affects me and it's going to affect a lot of you, and it's probably the reason why I'm not going to end up keeping this Switch Lite. Nintendo has an issue with shared gaming. So let's say you either have a Switch you have to share with your sibling, or if you're like me and you have 2 Nintendo accounts, 2 paid online Nintendo accounts on your Switch. In my case, they're both mine, but let's say it's you and your sibling, or you know, you're a parent and it's you and your son, who knows? Either way, if I buy a game with account number 1, I can play it with either account number 1 or account number 2. But when I buy a Switch Lite and I make the Switch Lite my primary Switch, now suddenly my regular Switch, when I go play the game that was bought with account 1 using account 2, it doesn't allow me. You see, your primary Switch can use any user to play any game as long as one of those users bought the game. But on your secondary Switch, it's only the user that bought the game that can play the game. This is an absolute deal breaker because it either means everyone has to buy multiple copies of the same game, or I have to make the shared Switch the primary Switch, and now the Switch Lite can't be used on the go because it can't check games, and it's a whole freaking mess. And the worst part of it all was I knew that this was an issue, but I kind of said, I'm like, well listen, I buy a lot of my games physically anyways. I don't have that many digital games that are going to make it an issue, but turns out, yes, when you buy a game physically and there's an update that adds extra content, or if you buy DLC like for Smash Bros, suddenly you do have to verify. Because even if it's a physical game, if they updated it with new content, it has to check if you can access that new content. Or if it's like Smash Bros, where I bought the fighter pass for new characters, they have to be able to check if I can play those new characters, and if they can't check that, I can't even get in the game. So basically, where does the Switch Lite stand in 2020 then? Honestly, if you want to enter the Switch ecosystem but the Switch is too expensive, this is $100 cheaper, and as of now, it's been a few months that it's out. You might even be able to find it used for even cheaper. So check out the Switch Lite, because that could be a good thing for you. Even if you have the money to buy a regular Switch, check out what you want to use it for. If you plan to use it mainly portably because you travel a lot, or as like a 3DS modern day replacement and you know you're not going to be playing it on your TV that often, check out the Switch Lite. It honestly is a really good system for those who want to get into the Switch world. The fact of the matter is though, this system is not a replacement for this system, and it's not something that can be interchangeable either. If you own a regular Switch and you want to go out and buy a Switch Lite anyways, cool, do it, it's on you. I just don't think it's worth it. Honestly, they're not on an even playing field, and it just doesn't make sense. The Switch Lite is a perfect device for people who want that on-the-go only gaming, who want to be introduced to the Switch world without having to spend the full Switch price tag and get up something a bit cheaper. But honestly, don't buy this if you already have a Switch. Anyways guys, that's all I have for today. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the Nintendo Switch. Let's start a discussion. And also don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends and family to show that you did enjoy it. Subscribe for new videos every single week. Anyways guys, I'm Snake. See you in the next one. Peace out.